everyone, it's Melissa again here with Cooking with Countryside, and today we're gonna make blazing bean burgers. Last week we made the green dream nochi. Everything was green, it was wonderful, and so today we're gonna switch things up and do something that's a little bit more summery, something that you could cook outside on the grill. I know 4th of July was last weekend and a lot of people were cooking out and it was great. So if you are a non-meat eater or you're just looking to introduce a little bit more plant-based foods into your diet, this is the recipe for you. So the ingredients you're gonna need from the market are oats, and I'm using rolled oats. You could also use steel cut oats for this if you prefer. Carrots, I went ahead and shredded these ahead of time so you wouldn't have to watch through that. Tahini, this is optional, but it makes a great dressing on top instead of ketchup or mustard that you would normally put on a burger. You need a scallion, an onion, and you can use red or yellow onion. And then lettuce, this is also optional, but it makes a great substitute for a traditional bun, makes everything a little bit lighter. And then the things that you'll need from a grocery store are kidney beans, and I went ahead and just used a can of kidney beans because that was super easy. You just rinse them and drain them and then you're all set to go. But you could also use dried beans. That'll save you a little bit more money, but you'll just have to soak them overnight ahead of time. And once you try it with kidney beans, if you like this recipe, you can definitely try swapping it out for black beans, pinto beans, anything you prefer. And then last but not least are our spices. So again, these, if you don't want it super spicy, use milder spices like garlic powder and onion powder. Today I'm actually going to use, it's called the Amazing Burger Grill Seasoning. It's just a mixture basically of salt, onion, chili pepper, garlic, tomato powder, paprika, pretty basic spices. But if you don't have those, something you could use would be ground cumin or crushed red pepper flakes or chili powder. So any of those are gonna work. The first thing we need to do is we're gonna cook the carrots and the onion in a frying pan until they're soft. So if you buy carrots from the market, you're gonna have to go ahead and shred them. And I just put them in my blender, but if you have a food processor, that would also work really well. And so these onions, I hope you all got to go to the market and just see everything. It's so different when you're seeing all this stuff laid out on the tables versus when you're just ordering it online. Everything looks so beautiful, and I should find, this onion is very small compared to the other one. I'm gonna find the other one for you. It was big, like the biggest onion I've probably ever seen in my life up close, but everything looks so beautiful, so colorful. So definitely even if you order ahead of time, you're still gonna get that lovely market experience that we all love and we all miss. So thank you so much to everyone who supported us through this whole change. And my knife skills are a little rusty, but basically we're just gonna dice this onion. And if you have a food processor, just go ahead and throw the onion in the food processor as well. And they don't have to be super small, but you don't want them too big because you don't want like a giant bite of onion. I don't think that would be very good. Whew. My eyes always water no matter what kind of onion it is, especially the red onions, but no tricks have worked for me. I've tried chewing gum, tried wearing goggles. That was kind of strange, but none of it worked. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna heat up a little bit of oil in a frying pan behind me, and I'm just gonna saute these onions and the carrot until the onions are translucent and the carrots are soft. Probably only take about 5 to 10 minutes. So the next step is gonna be to mash your beans. Now I'm just gonna do this with a fork, and you can kind of just press down. They don't have to be super small. They don't have to be like a puree. And in fact, the bigger you leave them, the more it's gonna be like an actual ground beef texture. So you might not want them whole. but smush just a little bit is gonna give you a really nice texture, but then it's also gonna allow the beans to blend well. So I'm just going in with a fork. If you have like a potato smasher, this might be a good time to use that. But a good old-fashioned fork works just fine. And then after you do this is gonna you wanna do this in a larger bowl because this is gonna be the base for our mixture. So we're just gonna basically add everything onto this. I'm gonna go ahead and cut up this scallion. We can use the whole thing for this. I'm just gonna cut off the edges and then go ahead and dice up this whole thing. Now, you could add this to the carrots and onions that are cooking if you wanted to cook it down a little bit. But I think it tastes really good just raw like this. I mean, we are gonna cook the burger again later. We're gonna throw it in the pan to cook, so it will get cooked a little bit if you're scared that you don't like quite the raw flavor. And again, a food processor would come in handy for this if you want to make this process even faster. And if you aren't really into beans and this isn't your thing, you could also add these ingredients to a normal beef or turkey burger. Adding onions and carrots is gonna make it a nice flavor for you. So I'm just adding this whole scallion into the beans and then we'll mix it up in a minute. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add the seasoning. Like I said, this time I'm just using like a burger seasoning. But this will be kind of to your discretion as to how much you want to use. I would say probably about 2 teaspoons to start, but you can always taste things as you go. There's no eggs in here, so you could really eat these burgers raw if you wanted to. I don't think they would taste very good. You definitely want them at least warmed up. But, so we have the seasoning, the scallion, and the beans in here. Once these veggies are done cooking, we're gonna add those right into the bowl. Okay, now we're just about ready to actually form these burgers into patties. So I just added the vegetables to the bowl, and then the last thing we're gonna add is oatmeal. So we're gonna start with 1/2 cup, and then we're just gonna mix this all together and see how well it blends. We might have to add more oatmeal, but it's better to just add a little bit at a time and see. So I think I'm gonna add just a little more oatmeal. So basically the end goal is you're gonna wanna form these into patties. So the oatmeal kind of helps everything stay together. But we are gonna form these into patties and then put them in the fridge so they can have a little bit of time to set. Okay, so everything's mixed up, and before I form into patties, this was the onion I was talking about. That's so big. I've like never seen an onion this big. Like it's like the size of my face. But I was so amazed. I was very happy to see that. Okay, so now I'm just gonna take a plate and I'm gonna form these into patties. So I'm just kind of gonna use a spatula to help. And then you could either actually do this on a baking sheet if that would fit in your fridge. I know that won't fit in my fridge. That might be easier. Otherwise, a plate works just fine. So then we're gonna go ahead and let those set in the fridge for about 1/2 an hour. You'll be able to tell now that if you try to cook it now, it would definitely fall right apart, which is okay if you're not really going for a burger and you're just going for the flavor. But if you spend that little extra minutes of patience, you'll get more of that burger feel. So we'll be back in 1/2 an hour. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for, the final product. So after letting them sit, I took them off of the plate from the fridge with a spatula because they are still gonna fall apart a little bit. And then I heated up a little bit of oil in a pan, and then I just cooked them on there until they were brown on both sides. And when you flip them, you're going to have to kind of pat them down with the spatula and reform them a little bit because they aren't super sticky. But as you can see, like here, you can still form them into a patty. But if you're going to cook them on a grill, you definitely want a flat surface, like some kind of griddle, so they're not like falling through the spaces in the grill. But like I said, they do form nicely if you keep pressing them down with a spatula, so that's just a tip there. And so instead of a bun, we're gonna use the lettuce today. So I put the lettuce on the plate, put the burger on top, and the final touch is tahini. This is gonna add a nice flavor, and it's just something a little bit different than the traditional ketchup and mustard for a burger because this is not your traditional burger. So we're just gonna drizzle it on top. And then you're all set to go. Thank you for watching. And if you're interested to see how you can get the ingredients you saw in today's video, visit countrysidefoodandfarms.org. Thank you.